Welcome back and thank you for staying with us here on India Today. Our top focus at the back of this hour is on the Russia-Ukraine war, and we're bringing you all the updates. Our reporters are there facing the eye of the storm to get you the very latest from Ukraine. India Today is the only channel that is still covering the biggest global story, Russia's invasion of Ukraine. India Today reporters have been reporting from the war zone for 48 days straight and counting. Rajesh Pawar has now reached Dnipro and sent us this exclusive ground report.
This small town Dniprivka is about 30 kilometers from Kyiv. Fierce fighting took place in this small town, and you see we just saw a tank which isn't totally destroyed. This is a APC, armored personal carrier, probably had 10 people inside, and the whole thing is destroyed. It took an impact. The missile or the rocket hit right in the center of the thing, and everything in this was destroyed. You see what would have happened to people inside. It carries 8 to 10 people. And you see this. This is a skull which is left over of a human being now. And you see 2 bullet shots in the center, in the chest. And this remains of a human being now. You can't even identify that it's a human being. We did not even recognize it in the first go. We thought some debris. And look, that was 8 to 10 people in this, and what would have remained of them? The track is intact, but the whole APC, like the tank we just saw, is totally destroyed. And this is what war does to you. And the kind of anti-tank weapons which are being used today are so fierce, are so destructive in power, and this is what they make of steel. This is Rajesh Pawar for India Today from Dnipro. I'm right now in the small town of Stoyanka, which is about 30 kilometers from Kyiv, and behind me you can see a supermarket which has been completely devastated, completely destroyed in a missile attack from Russian forces. This is about 30 kilometers from Kyiv city, and the entire supermarket has been totally burnt out, totally destroyed. Rajesh Pawar from Stoyanka for India Today. I am in the village of Dnipro, and behind me is business of this man. Before war, it was a flourishing business. It was an oil change or a service station for the cars. What is it? Sergey. It was a car station. It was a service station for changing oil.
Change oil, діагностика, ремонт, також
Remont is repair, change oil, little bit taking care of the cars, yes? Okay. And where is your house? Doma. Give it to the Doma.
Мій дім знаходиться в Дмитрівці.
Same, in the same village. He lives in the same village, and it was his business where he used to repair, little bit of oil change and servicing of the vehicles. And when it got destroyed, which date? It is a nice.
Скільки це коштувало, як давно це все працює? 3 роки. 3 роки ми тут працювали.
And did you see the Russian tanks? Tank Russian? Ти смотри?
Зі слів очевидців, які проживають тут, вони бачили.
Один танк там?
Один танк стояв там, і він зробив 6 пострілів у цьому напрямку. Тобто пострадав не тільки мій автосервіс, а також постріл, і там далі ми 3 постріли сюди, а інші 3 прийшли саме туди, в ті приміщення, які далі знаходяться, трубу, в якій маярять отвори. Це все з одного танку.
How many, сколько tanks? 7?
Один.
But everywhere, да?
Так.
So he's saying that he saw one Russian tank which went inside, went behind. We saw a damaged factory there, and that is a tank which destroyed his this car service station also. And Do you expect compensation from government?
Невідомо зараз, як це все буде компенсуватися.
Сейчас нет.
Невідомо.
Till now, he has not heard of any kind of compensation from the government, but he expects probably after the war, probably government will compensate him because that's the only business he had here. Spasiba. Thank you. You see this pin and you see this. From there, you set the range. You align this with this and to the target. This is how you fire this kind of disposable rocket launcher. It is so easy to learn. Align two things with a target and you just pull the trigger, and that's how you can aim and learn how to use this weapon. This is a Russian disposable rocket launcher which they have used extensively against Ukrainian targets. You see the markings here. This is all Russian markings, and this weapon has been used extensively by the Russian forces against Ukrainian tanks, armored personnel carriers, vehicles, and also to damage the concrete roadblocks which Ukrainians had put all over this road. This is Rajesh, Pawar for India Today.
Ukrainian city of Dnipro is under heavy shelling from Putin's troops. Russian rockets have completely destroyed the airport of the city. My colleague Gaurav Sawant sent us this exclusive ground report when he was en route to Dnipro. Take a look.
The administration at Dnipro has asked the women, the elderly and the children to evacuate given the intensification of operations towards the east and the south of this country. The situation in Ukraine is extremely grim. My camera person Lalit Mohan Joshi and I are now on our way to Dnipro from Kyiv. It's about 500 kilometers. It's 6 in the morning, and that's the time that curfew is lifted. And vehicles and civilians are permitted to come out on the streets. So we are on our way to Dnipro to get you the latest from ground zero. India Today gets you the latest from the heart of action, and we have the biggest team of reporters from Kyiv to Dnipro to Mykolaiv to Donbass, getting you a 360-degree perspective on the developments on this big story. This is now day 48 of the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
Pashtanka, a suburb of Mykolaiv, is under attack. Non-stop shelling from Russian forces has almost reduced the city to dust. My colleague Mausami getting you more details in the next report.
Shelled, shaken, destroyed. Over a month of brutal assault on Ukraine has left many towns in ruins. Pashtanka, a suburb of Mykolaiv, is one of them. Non-stop shelling from Russian forces has almost reduced the city to dust. Mykolaiv itself is not spared. Relentless attacks by Russians have razed the Mykolaiv airport to the ground.
The sound of music greeted the customers as they reached the international airport of Mykolaiv. But now there is only sound of silence and destruction. This is the picture of an airport which was of great strategic importance. Only airport in this area that actually could have had modern facilities and heavy planes could land in this area. But just take a look. This is the view of the entry point. You enter from that gate. That is the gate, and the gate looks like this. The entire glass is, of course, shattered, and you entered, and you would see a modernized airport. But what you see is only destruction here. Some volunteers, their jackets also lying here, and glasses. We are told we cannot go inside because there are some active ammunition still. But Dnipro sir, who's the public relations officer, who's brought us here, getting you these exclusive pictures. Dnipro sir, the Russians have been targeting your airports, and this airport was bombed because they couldn't take control of it.
Yes, they don't have control of this airport, and when he misunderstands, they bombing airports. This is first and last airport international Mykolaiv, and Mykolaiv region too.
In Bashtanka, residential areas have also been hit hard.
In good old days, this counter would provide heal and cure and medicine to the people who were sick. But you can see that this counter is turned into a rubble. Medicines burnt, destroyed pamphlets. This counter looks like one dilapidated shop. It doesn't even look like a semblance of a shop. And here you can see how people are picking up the pieces. Here, a doctor's coat, some medicines, some pamphlets and pieces of decoration. This side was a pharmacy, and here what you see was a bakery shop that ran. It was a very famous bakery by the name of Small Bakery. Bekarna is what they call in their language. And this bakery used to serve pastries and muffins to children. It was a favorite joint for the people of Bashtanka, but perhaps they will have to live with this hopelessness for a while, because the Russian troops actually reached Bashtanka village hoping to reclaim Mykolaiv.
Russian shelling, however, hasn't broken Ukrainians' will. Ukrainian troops are fighting back the invaders in Mykolaiv. They've seized more than 115 tanks as well as trucks with heavy ammunition.
This is a symbolic picture of how the Russian forces are facing a stiff, aggressive Ukrainian defense force. This is a Russian truck, Ural, that you see on which we are standing, and how this has been completely destroyed after being bombarded. This truck was actually heading to a Russian base point where it was carrying cruise missiles, a lot of ammunitions, almost 80 ammunitions that it was carrying to target Bashtanka village. And here you can see that these broken parts, these plates, of course this has been sanitized, but 890 is the number that you see. Some signs of the manufacturing of this Russian truck that was carrying cruise missiles, we are told. And here on the tire, you can see that made in Russia, made in February 1995. So February 1995, made in Russian truck that is completely burnt. Right there, the steering wheel and the cabin completely destroyed. Here you can see that nothing is remaining. They had actually, the Ukrainian forces, sanitized this entire area. This is the door that is actually jutting out of this truck. And of course, the attempt by the Russian forces was actually defunct because of the alertness of the Ukrainian forces, who did air raids only after the Russian troops were fleeing. This truck was also fleeing from the location, but before that it met its fate. And here India today, in fact, is the only Indian crew to reach Bashtanka, which is on the outskirts, far away from Mykolaiv. But all the entire region of Mykolaiv is facing a lot of fire, a lot of battle, combat on the periphery, because the Russians are just on the doorstep at Kherson, and they want to take Mykolaiv, which is the last barrier standing, to capture the entire southern part of Ukraine and cut it off from the sea. With video journalist Parminder Sharma, getting you all the ground reports from the war zone in Mykolaiv and Ukraine for India Today.
The war in Ukraine has entered the 48th day. The port city of Mariupol has been completely battered in the last 5 weeks of relentless shelling. According to Mariupol mayor, around 5,000 people, including 210 children, since Russian forces laid siege on Mariupol, have been affected. While Russia has claimed that Mariupol has already fallen under their control, Ukraine has said that they are fighting back Russians. Ukraine has dubbed the last battle of Mariupol. In Mariupol, this drama theatre serving as shelter for hundreds of civilians was bombed by the Russian troops, reducing it to rubble. The theatre, once home to the nights of revelry and art, is now a ghost shell for itself. Over 300 people have been reportedly killed in bombings in Mariupol. About 140,000 people fled Mariupol on the Sea of Azov before the Russian siege began, and 150,000 have exited since then.